The drug in the girl's body started to take effect. She leaned in and flirted recklessly with the domineering Seo in front of her. What she didn't know was that this man had secretly liked her since senior year of high school. Faced with her initiative, the CEO certainly wouldn't hold back, and the two ended up spending the night together. Early the next morning, the girl opened her eyes, only to find herself lying in an unfamiliar room. Everything from last night rushed back into her mind. Her name was Jen Man, an 18-tier small actress. Last night, her agent brought her to a hotel, claiming that the director and investors were holding a small audition inside, telling her to fight for the role of the fourth female lead. Wanting to get rid of the label of an 18-tier background extra, she held the room card excitedly and went to room 808, ready to deliver her best acting. But the moment she walked in, a sleazy old man lunged at her, saying that as long as she slept with him, she could have any role she wanted. Shocked, Jen Man instantly realized she had been tricked, yet her body suddenly felt burning hot. To stay conscious, she bit her lip hard, then shoved the old man away and bolted out the door. As she pressed the elevator button, she suddenly remembered that the only thing she drank was the bottle of water from her agent that it must have been tampered with. She didn't expect the old creep behind her to keep chasing after her. At that moment, the elevator doors suddenly opened, and when Jen Man saw someone inside, she rushed forward like grabbing a lifeline. But the old man deliberately lied, claiming that Jen Man was his girlfriend and telling them not to get involved. Coincidentally, the man in front of her also knew her, and had even liked her for years. He immediately ordered his assistant to deal with the old man. Under the drug's influence, Jen Man once again flirted boldly with the CEO. But a slightly mocking voice yanked her back to reality. Awake? Jen Man instinctively looked up. Louis Ren. Why was he here? He was the legendary campus heartthrob back in their school days. Jen Man never expected to run into someone familiar in this kind of situation. This was peak social death. Still, she forced a relaxed smile and said, "Hi, handsome. Thanks for last night." But Louis Ren suddenly darkened his expression and asked what she was talking about. To cover her embarrassment, she pretended to be experienced and said, "Come on, adults do this kind of thing all the time." Then she tried to grab her clothes and run. But the clothes were already torn to shreds. Louis Ren glanced at the streak of blood on the bed and sneered, "Looks like your knowledge of those things exists only in theory." Just then his assistant brought him a document. Louis Ren told her to come over and sign it. When she saw the big words prenuptial agreement, Jen Man froze. "What do you mean by this?" Jen Man slapped her cheeks in disbelief. The campus heartthrob back then, now a domineering Seo, saying he wants to marry me. Did I fall into a Mary Sue dream? It can only be a dream. Thinking that, she sensibly put the agreement down and said, "Mr. Liu, you're handsome and filthy rich, don't tease a small nobody like me." Louis Ren suddenly spoke. "What if I insist?" Hearing the dominance and determination in his tone, Jen Man gathered all her strength and bolted. "Well, I'm not sticking around, goodbye." She hadn't even reached the door when Louis Ren's threat came from behind. "Are you planning to leave dressed like that?" Her heart tightened. Walking out of a hotel wrapped in a bedsheet would definitely hit the trending searches. That chubby guy last night was probably an investor. She would likely be blacklisted afterward. So getting on the trending page once before that wasn't the worst way to exit the industry. In that case, I wish Miss Jen Man the very best. Even if you're blacklisted in the future and can't even get a background extra role, may you still stay proud and stubborn. After saying that, he raised the prenuptial agreement, ready to tear it apart right in front of her. Jen Man helplessly grabbed his wrist. Deal. After all, she truly loved acting. She was invisible in her company and every role had to be fought for on her own. Even after years in the industry, she was still stuck on the outer edge of the 18th tier, yet she kept pushing on with optimism. Louis Ren knew exactly how dedicated she was to her career, which was why he used this threat to get what he wanted. After all, he had been hopelessly in love with this girl since high school. Jen Man returned to her apartment, and the moment she walked in, her agent Wu Mengling rushed over with an eager look, asking whether the investor had agreed to give her the fourth female lead. Looking at the woman she had worked with for years, Jen Man suddenly raised her hand and slapped her hard across the face. The unexpected slap left Wu Mengling wide-eyed as she shouted, "Jian Man, are you crazy? If I were crazy, how would I have ever let you be my assistant? Ask yourself, I treated you well. And you drugged me and let Lin Wei take advantage of me." Jian Man never imagined that the assistant who worked beside her for 4 years would drug her and hand her over to an investor. Even after being slapped, the assistant still argued, "How many years have you been in this industry? You've got no background. The company won't promote you. Without unspoken rules, how are you supposed to rise?" Jian Man finally understood. They simply weren't the same kind of people. She could have earned the role through auditions, but her assistant decided on her own to send her to be used, which even led her to sign a marriage agreement with that cold CEO. And once something like this happens the first time, it will happen countless times. After a moment's thought, Jian Man said, "You're fired and I can't trust you anymore." Seeing she wasn't joking, Wu Mengling picked up her bag and walked out. And before leaving, she still threw out a threat. "Fine, Jian Man, let's see how long you can survive in showbiz without me." How long she could survive was unknown, but with someone like that around, the day she'd be ruined wouldn't be far away. Just when Jian Man felt completely defeated, the director called her, saying she was perfect for the role of the Palace Beauty, the 4th female lead, but the troublesome investor had disagreed before. Now the investor had changed to the Lu Corporation. Director Gao called specifically to give her this good news. They were now requesting Jian Man by name, and told her to come to the office tomorrow to sign the contract and join the crew in a week. After the call ended, Jian Man felt alive again. She immediately pulled out the business card Lu Yiran had given her, and held it up like protection. A week later, she arrived at the filming location of Palace Beauty, planning to greet the director first before dropping off her luggage. But after looking around, she didn't see the director. She saw her former assistant, Wu Mengling. She originally had no intention of speaking to her, but the woman deliberately came over to provoke her. "Well, didn't get the 4th female lead, huh? Now you're here shamelessly begging for a role. Don't even think about it. You won't even get to be a background extra here." She kept chirping nonstop, but Jian Man didn't even bother to respond. When a crew worker came over to ask what was going on, she deliberately slandered Jian Man, claiming she was causing trouble because she failed the audition, immediately drawing whispers and stares from the surrounding actors. The crew worker was just about to push her out. When the director arrived after hearing the commotion, Wu Mengling pointed at Jian Man and repeated the slander again. Fortunately, the director recognized Jian Man and stated that she was personally selected as the 4th female lead. Then he scolded Wu Mengling harshly on the spot, and had her dragged out by staff. The CEO's level of wife pampering truly had no limit. A tiny 18-tier actress had just joined the crew and was already given a luxurious single apartment. Jian Man asked in disbelief, "Are you sure you didn't mix up my room with one of the big stars?" After receiving a firm confirmation on the phone, she finally felt at ease and placed her luggage inside. After tidying up the room, she planned to go out and explore the area, when a lost ragdoll cat suddenly appeared in front of her. Jian Man was instantly melted by the little fluff ball. Worried it might be in danger, she took the initiative to look after it on behalf of its owner. Not long after, the cat's owner called and told her to send the cat to room 808 that evening. And although she was a bit reluctant, she still returned the cat, only to be shocked that its owner was Lu Yiran. Even though the two were technically engaged, Jian Man didn't want to get too involved with him inside the crew apartments. She handed the cat over and prepared to leave, but Lu Yiran suddenly pinned her against the wall and said, "In such a hurry, are you that afraid of me? Since you helped me, why not have dinner together?" Jian Man was about to use "eating late makes you gain weight" as an excuse, but the big tyrant actually threatened, "Looks like Palace Beauty won't need that many supporting roles after all." Her weakness was completely in his hands. Soon the two arrived at a luxurious Chinese restaurant. Jian Man glanced at the menu and instantly frowned. Even stir-fried greens cost 5 digits. Would eating them let her ascend to heaven? She leaned close to Lu Yiran's ear and whispered whether they could switch to a cheaper place, since she had just joined the crew and was short on money. But Lu Yiran suddenly turned his head, and she didn't have time to pull back, accidentally pressing a kiss onto his cheek. Jian Man's face exploded red as she stared at him in shock. To ease the awkwardness, the manager quickly offered to take charge of tonight's menu. Lu Yiran was a premium VIP at this restaurant, and the manager naturally knew his preferences, so he agreed. Pouring tea, Lu Yiran said, "Since this meal is to thank you, of course I'm the one paying. It was just a kiss on the cheek. No need to blush that hard. We've done far more intimate things, haven't we?" As he spoke, he leaned forward again, ready to relive it, but was interrupted by the sound of dishes being served. And Jian Man took the chance to move to another seat to avoid being touched by him again. Palace Beauty was being filmed in full swing, and many veteran actors working with Jian Man praised her acting. However, her former assistant Wu Mengling still held a deep grudge over being fired. She just so happened to now be the assistant of Shanshan, the female lead, and often gossiped in front of her. Even twisting the truth about that day she slandered Jian Man during the set visit and retelling it in reverse. Upon hearing it, Shanshan was immediately furious and declared she would teach Jian Man a lesson. The next scene was one where Jian Man had to kneel and salute her. And of course Shanshan accidentally forgot her lines, dragging the scene for more than 20 takes. And on the final take she even shoved Jian Man hard to the ground. After kneeling so many times, Jian Man's strength gave out and she fainted on the spot. The news quickly reached Lu Yiran's ears, and in a fit of rage he called Jian Man, asking if she needed him to intervene. The girl he held in the palm of his hand wasn't someone others were allowed to bully, but he still pretended to be aloof and said, "Heard someone bullied you on set. Why don't you beg me a little and I'll help you get even?" But Jian Man refused, saying, "How could I owe you a favor over something this small? I'm an actress, I should solve problems the actor's way." Then she hung up. His assistant couldn't help laughing. "If President Lu cares about her, stop playing these tricks. Asking her to beg you, aren't you childish?" Furious, Lu Yiran immediately said he would transfer the assistant to the crew to watch over Jian Man. After all, he was that childish, and the assistant was sharp enough to handle unexpected problems. The assistant was so shocked he begged for mercy. It seemed being a CEO's assistant during his romance arc was truly exhausting. Soon after, Jian Man returned to the set to continue filming, and this time Shanshan was ready to embarrass her again through the scene. But just as she was about to make her move, Jian Man suddenly countered and slammed her hard to the ground, using the moment to enhance her own performance, and the director didn't show any intention of stopping the scene, even telling the cameraman to give Jian Man a big close-up for the final shot. Everyone thanked Jian Man for her quick reaction. If not, that diva would have delayed wrap time who knows until when. Before leaving, Jian Man didn't forget to warn her, "Since you're an actress, put your energy into acting instead of these cheap tricks. I don't want trouble, but I'm never afraid of it. Using such petty framing tactics is far too low level." However, Jian Man's words only made the tension between them worse, especially with that assistant standing by, eager to watch the drama unfold. Women really are creatures of easy-to-change mountains, hard-to-change nature. When she was Jian Man's assistant, she used dirty tricks to push her into a casting couch trap. Now, working for someone else, she immediately came up with another rotten idea. Hearing that the director's birthday was coming up, Wu Mengling suggested Shanshan throw him a party. If the director was pleased, Jian Man would naturally lose his support, and they could trample her however they wanted. As expected, Shanshan was successfully provoked and immediately ordered Wu Mengling to spread the news that she would host the birthday banquet. However, the real boss behind Chinga was actually Jian Man's fiancée, Lu Yiran. They never accepted ordinary banquet requests, but seeing Jian Man's name on the list, the assistant still reported it to the president. The last incident where Shanshan slapped Jian Man still made Lu Yiran furious. After learning who requested the venue, he immediately ordered the assistant to reserve it under Jian Man's name, switching both the host and the main seat to her, and told him to keep it quiet. When the CEO turned dark, no one else had a chance. Early the next morning, he called Jian Man out of bed to take her to prepare a birthday gift for the director. But after 3 all-nighters on set, Jian Man finally had one day off and really didn't want to go anywhere. Besides, the director didn't like flashy gifts. She just needed to focus on acting. Unexpectedly, Lu Yiran squeezed into her room and said, "Whether he likes it or not has nothing to do with whether you should prepare something. So, do you want to change your clothes yourself, or should I help you?" Jian Man immediately snapped back. "Don't touch me. I'll change my clothes myself." As expected, the director wasn't too fond of the birthday party idea. "It's just turning 1 year older. Why make such a fuss and delay filming?" To show off her so-called filial respect, Shanshan even notified a bunch of reporters to come and interview. One of the reporters pointed at Chinga's signboard and said, "As far as I know, only people of high status can book events here. Looks like Sister Shanshan has quite an impressive background." Shanshan claimed she was just an ordinary person. Maybe the owner of Chinga simply appreciated her work and gave her a special access code. Just then, a luxury car drove in, and Chinga's manager quickly ordered the staff to line up and welcome. Shanshan thought it must be one of her devoted fans, but the person who stepped out of the car was Jian Man. Reporters immediately gathered, curious to interview her. Worried her spotlight would be stolen, Shanshan hurriedly pulled Jian Man aside, then told the manager they could start the banquet. But the manager instead turned to Jian Man and asked whether she wanted to begin the seating now, making Shanshan's face twitch with anger. The booking manager said with a polite smile, "You are just a regular user. You're not eligible to reserve this venue. We agreed only because it was Miss Jian's request." Shanshan was humiliated on the spot, instantly furious. She truly failed to steal the chicken and ended up losing the rice. Jian Man took out the safety charm she got from the temple yesterday and presented it to the director. "I heard your wife hasn't been well. I hope this helps a little." Seeing the director visibly moved, Jian Man had to admit, Lu Yiran was right. No matter how capable someone is, people are subjective. They favor the ones they like. So while doing your job well, you should also learn how to make others like you, even just a little more. Especially for a senior like Director Gao who values her so much. Even if it's just to make him happy, it's worth it. This CEO really was a wife-protecting maniac. He knew everything about the schemes his fiancée suffered on set. Shanshan even ordered someone to put laxatives into Jian Man's steamed buns during filming, making her run to the bathroom all morning, and even trying to embarrass her in front of the reporters. Then she arranged for someone to cause trouble so she could slap Jian Man, and claimed she accidentally missed while trying to block someone who was bullying Jian Man, leaving Jian Man with no grounds to fight back. Since his little fiancé couldn't find a chance to retaliate, Lu Yiran didn't mind creating one for her. So he timed it perfectly and sent his assistant to visit the set. Because the next scene was the one where Jian Man had to slap Shanshan. It had already been filmed nicely, but the assistant deliberately stirred things up. "You seriously approved that exaggerated take? The audience will doubt your standards." The director sighed helplessly. Shanshan is a trending top actress. Getting her to act at all is for the sake of guaranteed ratings. The assistant provoked him on purpose. Didn't expect Director Gao's standards to be this low. If it were another director, they'd insist on the most realistic performance. As expected, the director fell for it and immediately ordered a retake, and demanded it to be real. Jian Man originally didn't want to hit someone for real, but the assistant added fuel to the fire. "That slap. You wouldn't kill a mosquito with that. Hit harder. Did you hear me?" Jian Man couldn't help laughing. It seemed Lu Yiran really knew everything. If it was part of her job, then she wouldn't be polite. Judging from Shanshan's swollen red cheek, it was clear how hard Jian Man had slapped her. But the trouble wasn't over. That morning, the producer delivered a new script to Jian Man, saying that Director Gao wanted her as the female lead of his new drama, but her agency refused and hoped she could convince them to take the role. After 4 years of playing minor roles, someone finally wanted her as the lead. She didn't want to miss this chance. Just as she was about to call the company, she received a call from them instead. And the moment she mentioned the script, she was harshly scolded. "Jian Man, your video of hitting someone has been trending all day and you're still thinking about scripts?" It turned out that today's slap scene had been maliciously edited and uploaded online, and fake commenters were hired to smear her like crazy. Without hearing any explanation, the company decided she needed to apologize publicly. After all, she was just an industry nobody. Who would care whether she was framed? Meanwhile, Jian Man was in the lounge practicing her lines, unaware of everything happening outside. So when Lu Yiran suddenly appeared, she was shocked. "There are a lot of people outside. Don't be afraid." She never imagined he would come in person because of this. And in that moment Jian Man's heart completely melted. However, fans outside trying to seek justice for Shanshan, even threw rotten eggs at them. Without hesitation, Lu Yiran shielded Jian Man in his arms. His assistant whispered, "President Lu, this is dangerous." Right after, Jian Man's assistant was hit on the head by a thrown cup. Jian Man couldn't help shouting, "Enough! Don't go too far. Can't you see someone's hurt?" But a hater snapped back, "She got hurt because of you. Instead of pretending to be a saint, go apologize to Shanshan." Jian Man wanted to explain that the slap scene was just work. But the fans persisted, "With your lousy acting. Just pack your things and leave the crew." Jian Man almost laughed out of anger. Since they wanted to talk about acting, she didn't mind letting them watch. But the next scene was one where she was heartbroken by the man she loved. And to win the scumbag back, she exposed her delicate shoulder and said seductively, "Don't you want me?" The hater recording the video was instantly stunned by her performance. But Lu Yiran was practically exploding, his little fiancée acting such a provocative scene right in front of him. Absolutely unacceptable. By the time the scene wrapped, the director couldn't stop praising her. But the other haters didn't buy it at all. Not only did they refuse to stop attacking her, they even uploaded the scene online, completely taken out of context, accusing her of sleeping her way up and flirting with male actors on set. The company's manager immediately decided that, after Palace Beauty finished filming, Jian Man would be given a long break, which was basically a soft ban. If it were another actress, maybe there'd still be room to negotiate, but she had offended Shin Shanshan. And Shin Shanshan was the company's top priority, so the company chose to sacrifice Jian Man to protect her. Jian Man started calculating, since she was going to be shelved anyway. Having her fiancé pick up the mess didn't sound too bad. But Lu Yiran unexpectedly refused. "If you want me to invest under the Lu Group's name, I refused it. You've debuted for years with almost no fans, and now you're covered in scandals. What commercial value do you have?" Jian Man never expected Lu Yiran to say that. She exploded with anger on the spot. But Lu Yiran spoke bluntly again. If it was about marriage, she just needed to wait and become Mrs. Lu. But when it came to business investments, he had to see actual value. Jian Man slammed the door and stormed out. His assistant couldn't help asking why the CEO had to sound so harsh. Lu Yiran naturally had his reasons. Right now, Jian Man was too naive and too soft. Sure, he could protect her for a lifetime. But what if something happened one day and he couldn't rush to her side? Or if he lost his power? Where would Jian Man end up then? The entertainment industry was a battlefield. The weak were crushed instantly under the fangs of predators. To avoid being devoured, she needed at least the ability to protect herself. Outside the door, Jian Man still didn't understand his intentions. Her mood sank to the bottom instantly. Not her company, not her friends, not even her fiancé. No one was willing to help her. But she refused to accept defeat. She kept searching for anything she could still use as leverage. And the only answer left was herself. With that, she pushed open Lu Yiran's office door with full force. He looked up and deliberately mocked her. "What? Planning to quit the industry and be my full-time wife?" Jian Man immediately threw a stack of scripts onto the desk and said angrily, "This is Director Gao's new project that it's aiming for the Orchid Awards. I've already signed with the crew as the female lead. This drama has a high chance of winning. Signing me now, the future Best Actress of the Orchid Awards, is a bargain." Lu Yiran skimmed through the script and had to admit it was indeed a great production. But he still shook his head. This return rate isn't enough. To ignite his fiancée's fighting spirit, the CEO even pressured her into signing a gamble contract. If she wanted Lu Group's investment, she had to guarantee at least a Best Actress nomination, or she would have to pay back double. Jian Man agreed without hesitation. Lu Yiran then reminded her, "Don't forget you're still signed to Xingyu Media." She replied bluntly, "So please handle the termination with my old company, President Lu." Lu Yiran sighed. "You'll accept any method, even if it ruins your reputation?" To Jian Man, she had nowhere left to retreat. That if this was the only way to survive, she would take the risk, no matter the humiliation. Lu Yiran couldn't help but think to himself, Jian Man really knows how to read the situation. No wonder he chose her. Soon after, Lu Yiran released a message claiming that a Xingyu actress had accepted investor Lin Wei's casting couch deal. Since that actress played an important role in the drama he invested in, Palace Beauty, netizens instantly dumped all the blame onto Jian Man. As the online uproar intensified, the company immediately demanded she sign a disclaimer and voluntarily request contract termination. Other than waiving the penalty fee, every bit of blame was pushed onto her. Yet Jian Man simply signed her name without hesitation. This baffling reaction confused the company executives. They hadn't expected her to stop defending herself. As soon as Jian Man stepped out of the company, she posted an announcement declaring her official termination with Xingyu Media. Right after that, Lin Wei posted denying any casting couch behavior toward Jian Man, but he did not deny doing it to a Xingyu actress. Public opinion instantly flipped onto Xin Shanshan, and a marketing account named Fake Accusing Real Gets the Account Blown Up appeared online. It exposed Xin Shanshan's high school bullying videos and every scandal from before her debut. The username was perfect. The moment the account got destroyed, it basically confirmed everything as true. Manager Mei was just about to contact a lawyer for a statement when the exposing account blew up on its own. At the same time, the scene of Jian Man and Xin Shanshan acting together was pushed onto the trending list. Jian Man asked Lu Yiran if that video was secretly recorded by him. Lu Yiran replied that it was actually filmed by one of Xin Shanshan's fan sites. She originally wanted to upload it as dirt, but ended up impressed by Jian Man's acting and became her fan. Even the clarification post online was written by her. Jian Man instantly lit up. She had always believed that hard work would be seen one day. And now, finally having her first fan felt like a huge validation. Lu Yiran took a sip of coffee and showed a charming smile. The next second, Wu Mengling called, and Lu Yiran told her to hang up immediately. The two continued chatting. Jian Man laughed happily, both of them at ease. Suddenly, Lu Yiran said, "Call me by my name from now on, okay? After all, we're engaged." Jian Man grew extremely shy and whispered his name with a blushing face. Looking at Lu Yiran's handsome features, her face turned even redder. He really was too good-looking. Just then, Manager Mei called. As soon as the call connected, she started with polite small talk. Jian Man impatiently told her to get straight to the point. Manager Mei immediately began speaking on Xin Shanshan's behalf, hoping they could reconcile. Although Jian Man really didn't want to deal with them, she still decided to see what trick Shanshan was planning. Lu Yiran had Secretary Yu accompany her, worried she might get bullied. Just then, a rustling sound came from nearby, and Jian Man wondered what was going on. Lu Yiran stood up immediately and said dismissively, "Just something insignificant." At the same time, Shanshan and her manager were waiting for Jian Man at the restaurant. They kept complaining about her, and Wu Mengling grumbled, "Who does she think she is? Making everyone wait for her?" Manager Lin advised Shanshan to stay calm and not let herself be used as someone else's tool. The next second, the door swung open. Jian Man walked in wearing an exquisitely made dress, glowing from head to toe. Seeing her arrive, Manager Mei and Manager Lin quickly stood up to greet her. But Jian Man ignored them. "We all know each other so well, no need to act friendly." The secretary who came with her introduced himself. "My name is Yu Xiaobai. I'm Miss Jian Man's temporary assistant." Shanshan felt his face looked very familiar, yet she still couldn't recall his name. Manager Mei quickly pretended to be concerned. "I asked you the other day if you'd found a new company, and you said no. I worried about you for so long." Then she reached out to hold Jian Man's hand. "You know, our contract termination was a last resort. Not every company invests in you the way Xingyu did." She looked at Yu Xiaobai and added, "Treat Man well. That if you bully her, someone will stand up for her." Jian Man replied coldly, "Are you trying to imply I'm ungrateful and stir up conflict between me and my new company?" Manager Mei was about to explain when Jian Man pulled her hand back. "I've been in Xingyu for so many years and was always a nobody. In 8 years you only gave me a backstabbing assistant. Almost every opportunity, I fought for it myself." Jian Man grew angrier as she spoke. "And in the end, to protect your rising star, you dumped all the dirt on me. That Xingyu's kindness toward me. I didn't come today to watch you perform. Just say what you want. Manager May finally dropped the pretense. Shanshan is our top artist, but we must restore her reputation. What will it take for you to stop targeting Shanshan? Jian Man wasn't stupid enough to fall for it. Just yesterday, Lu Yiran had warned her that Shanshan's side might record the conversation, which would put them at a disadvantage. So Jian Man put on an innocent, pitiful expression. What are you talking about? I never targeted Shanshan. Maybe she offended someone before. Otherwise, how could so many scandals come out? Seeing she wouldn't admit anything, Manager May had no choice but to ask how she wanted to resolve it. Jian Man replied innocently, if I could get the cover shoot for Mengsha Fashion and a spot on the Master Star reality show. Yu Xiaobai immediately added, and the endorsement for the domestic smartphone brand Molo, that would make it even more sincere. Hearing this, Shanshan burst into anger. Jian Man, you're robbing me in broad daylight. But Manager May told her to calm down and agreed to fight for those resources. Only then did Jian Man leave satisfied. Before leaving, she held up the recorder and looked back with a smile. Just to be safe, I recorded the entire conversation that I believe Manager May is someone who keeps her word. After Jian Man left, Shanshan burst out angrily. Are we really giving her all those resources? Manager May replied calmly, those resources are minor. What matters now is clearing your name. She took a sip of tea and continued. A few days ago, Lin said that that person wants to return to the spotlight, that we might be able to use her. The woman was once a top actress, but after being exposed as two-faced, countless scandals surfaced, forcing her to stay home temporarily. Shanshan was drinking coffee at home, irritated and restless. Another woman walked over and asked why she wasn't working. Shanshan answered casually, got dragged down by an 18th tier nobody. Resting for 2 days to avoid attention. Hearing that, the woman chuckled. I've told you so many times, be kinder and your career will be smoother. Shanshan snapped, cousin, why are you taking an outsider's side? But, that man who came with her, what's his name? Yu Xiaobai. I don't know what his background is. The woman looked surprised and quickly asked, what's the name of that 18th tier girl? After Shanshan gave the name, she asked, cousin, do you know them? The woman lowered her head thinking, Jian Man, or is it just someone with the same name? On the other side, Jian Man was showing her newly shot magazine cover to the crew. And everyone praised how beautiful she looked in it. Jian Man was thrilled. She didn't expect those free resources she squeezed out of Shanshan to be this good. She almost started to like her. A man beside her handed her a bouquet, saying the cover looked amazing. Jian Man smiled and asked, Zhang Yi, did you wrap filming already? Zhang Yi nodded. I heard you ended your contract with your old company. Want to consider joining ours? Jian Man turned him down with a smile. She had already found a new company. The next second, a woman wearing sunglasses and a high-end suit walked toward her. Man, do you still remember me? Jian Man looked confused and asked who she was. The woman replied playfully, I'm Shen Danqing. Jian Man exclaimed in shock, your goddess Danqing. Shen Danqing laughed shyly. Don't call me that. Tonight is our class reunion. Everyone wants to see you. Big star, please give us some face, okay? Jian Man had zero desire to attend a class reunion, but just as she was about to refuse, Shen Danqing dragged her along. At the restaurant, Jian Man and Shen Danqing walked into the reunion, and when she saw her old friend, Jian Man pounced over excitedly, saying with relief, thank goodness you're here. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to face this. The woman chuckled. Big star, stop pretending. Weren't you and Danqing best friends? Jian Man thought back to her school days, remembering how Shen Danqing approached her and said she wanted to be best friends. Jian Man never understood why someone like Shen Danqing would choose an ordinary girl like her, because back then Shen Danqing was the center of attention, a goddess everyone adored. They weren't from the same world at all, and being forced into friendship felt strange. Then her friend suddenly asked, do you still keep in touch with Lu Yiran? Jian Man was confused. Why would Lu Yiran contact me? Her friend dropped another bombshell. You didn't know Lu Yiran had a crush on you? She sighed helplessly. He made it so obvious back then, but now that you two lost touch, it can only remain a fairy tale. Images of Lu Yiran's past actions toward her flashed through Jian Man's mind. She couldn't help questioning, could Lu Shangshan really have liked me? This campus heartthrob level guy had a long-time crush on her, something the entire school knew, except her. In her memory, the only time she interacted with Lu Yiran was during a group game, where each school's representatives used their bodies to form a human chain, and the school that reached the farthest point won. At that moment, Lu Yiran suddenly reached out his hand toward her, and her classmates pulled Jian Man closer, making the whole scene even more awkward. Just as she hesitated, Lu Yiran directly grabbed her hand. Back then, Jian Man felt like every girl in the school was staring at them. After all, she was the lucky one who hit the jackpot, and happened to stand beside the school heartthrob while he held her hand. She was so embarrassed she didn't even dare look at Lu Yiran. Lost in her thoughts, she didn't hear Shen Danqing calling her at all. Could it be Lu Yiran liked her from that moment on? Shen Danqing's voice pulled her back, and Jian Man quickly explained she had just remembered some old memories after seeing their former classmates. Shen Danqing sighed emotionally too, saying that seeing old classmates really did bring back many happy moments. Then she looked at Jian Man and said, "Oh right Man, I have a secret to tell you." Shen Danqing blinked playfully and smiled. "Do you remember Lu Yiran? Actually, he's my fiancé." Hearing this, Jian Man's eyes widened. 10 minutes later, Jian Man arrived home. He smiled and said goodbye to Shen Danqing. But the moment Shen Danqing left, Jian Man's expression instantly dimmed. Back home, she quickly took a shower, hoping it would wash away her worries. Yet even after showering, her heart still felt heavy. So Shen Danqing is actually his fiancé. Then what is she supposed to be? Jian Man patted her face and told herself to treat all of this like a dream. The next day, the director sent her a bouquet of roses, congratulating her on wrapping the shoot, telling her they'd notify the start date of the new drama later, and to rest well. At that moment, Zhang Yi, the one who invited her to join his company yesterday, walked over. A staff member joked, "Brother Yi is here to visit you again." Jian Man felt a little embarrassed. Then Zhang Yi reached out and pulled her closer, asking whether that woman made things difficult yesterday. Jian Man quickly said no. Zhang Yi sighed. "With President Lu protecting you, no one would dare touch you anyway." Then he looked at her seriously and said, "President Lu is a good man, but you still need to be careful." Jian Man frowned, not understanding what he meant. Zhang Yi continued, saying that guys like President Lu, young masters from big families, are usually engaged very early, and even if he says he likes you now, it might just be for fun. Zhang Yi then smiled and comforted her, saying he believed President Lu wouldn't be that kind of person. Hearing that, Jian Man turned back and showed him a stunning smile. She said President Lu was a responsible man, and if he truly liked someone, he would never do such a thing. What kind of melodrama was this? The domineering Xiu actually had another fiancé. What was she supposed to do? Jian Man smiled beautifully at Zhang Yi again, and Zhang Yi turned red, not knowing what to say. After thinking for a moment, he told her that his new drama still lacked a supporting female role and asked if she was interested in acting with him. Jian Man agreed to go back and check her schedule, and after hearing that, Zhang Yi turned to leave, leaving Jian Man standing there alone, her lips pressed tightly as if lost in thought. Half an hour later, Jian Man arrived at Lu Yiran's office. Seeing her appear, Lu Yiran felt ecstatic inside, but still kept a cold face and asked why she came. Jian Man took out a folder saying it was about her studio and she wanted to discuss it with him. She placed it on the table and said, "I want to add an equity sharing clause to the contract. This is all my savings." Lu Yiran teased her, asking why she suddenly seemed interested in playing the girl boss who controls everything. Jian Man replied calmly, saying that if they were going to get married in the future, it was better to keep financial matters clear. Lu Yiran didn't care about that at all. Instead, he suddenly asked if she had checked the entertainment news. He picked up his phone and showed her. Xingyu was starting PR for Xin Shanshan's scandal. Jian Man looked at the woman on the screen and exclaimed, "That's Yin Longhua." Yin Longhua once starred in an idol drama and skyrocketed overnight with a pure, innocent image, becoming a triple threat star in film, TV, and music. But soon after rising to fame, she was exposed for diva behavior and messy private life, which ruined her image, so she flash married a famous producer 2 years later. only to divorce shortly after. Now she has signed with Xingyu Media and plans to return with a sexy mature woman style. Lu Yiran raised 3 fingers. This situation affects you in 3 ways. First, she's being used to divert public attention from Xin Shanshan's scandal, so Xin Shanshan's issue will gradually be forgotten. Second, her comeback will squeeze out your good resources, so you need an agent who comes with resources. And third, she becomes another competitor for the Best Actress award, so you'd better work harder. After saying that, Lu Yiran flicked Jian Man's forehead. Jian Man held her forehead, saying it hurt. Lu Yiran put away the documents and said the matters were almost settled, so she could go back first. At that moment, Jian Man suddenly stared at him, her face turning red. Lu Yiran, do you like me? Hearing that, Lu Yiran panicked a little. He pretended to stay calm and said, whether I like you or not, you still have to marry me. What difference does asking make? Jian Man suddenly stood up and said she understood. Then she left the office, leaving Lu Yiran stunned. What was wrong with her? Walking down the street, Jian Man kept replaying Xin Danqing's and Zhang Yi's words in her mind. Tears welled up in her eyes. She felt terribly sad that if he didn't like her, then she should let him go. At that moment, a woman looked at her with shining eyes, surprised that she was willing to come to their small production crew. Jian Man gave a modest smile, saying there was still time before the new drama started, so she came to learn a bit. Then Zhang Yi walked over and asked if this would delay her work, and Jian Man explained again. A staff member then handed her the script and gave her a general explanation of the drama's plot. Zhang Yi invited Jian Man to have a meal together and discuss the script along the way. Meanwhile, in a luxurious villa, Lu Yiran had just reached the entrance when he heard laughter inside. The butler explained that Miss Xin had come as well today. When Lu Yiran entered, both of them looked surprised. Then an older man shouted at him, so you still remember to come home, brat? Forgot your grandpa already? Xin Danqing quickly tried to smooth things over. Grandpa Lu, don't say that. Aaron is just too busy with work. Lu Yiran replied calmly, didn't I come back to keep you company as soon as I had time? Grandpa Lu turned his head away proudly, refusing to look at him. Xin Danqing smiled and said, Grandpa Lu talks about you all the time. Seeing how gentle and well-behaved she was, Grandpa Lu immediately pushed for marriage. Your marriage and your brother's is the most important thing. Danqing fits you well. Hearing that, Danqing gave a shy smile. But Lu Yiran stayed cold. Grandpa, I'll find you a granddaughter-in-law myself. Danqing is a guest even if she marries in. Why don't you stay for dinner? As soon as he finished, Xin Danqing froze, her expression dimming instantly. Grandpa then asked the butler to help him back to his room to rest, leaving the 2 younger people alone. As the butler walked away, he worried that the young master was being too obvious. Would this hurt the relationship between the 2 families? But Grandpa Lu said no, that young people should handle their own matters, and that the Lu family didn't need to look at the Xin family's attitude. After Grandpa Lu left, Xin Danqing politely tried to pour tea for Lu Yiran, but Lu Yiran basically asked her to leave, saying no need. Grandpa already went to rest. You should head home early. Xin Danqing pretended not to hear the hint, saying our 2 families are prestigious old families. Grandpa Lu even told me to treat this place like my own home, that I thought we were already family. Lu Yiran replied coldly, are you trying to say that without the Xin family our Lu family can't survive? Xin Danqing quickly said that wasn't what she meant. Lu Yiran lowered his gaze. If you want to develop feelings with Yingxing, I, as his brother, won't interfere with his personal life. He stood up immediately afterward. Sorry, I have other things to do. Xin Danqing sat on the sofa, her expression turning dark. She picked up her phone, furious inside. Lu Yiran, you're forcing me. Meanwhile, the stunning woman before us originally just wanted to earn money and buy back her studio, but was sabotaged by her so-called best friend. Jian Man lay on her bed spacing out. Although she had already invested all her savings into the studio, if Lu God and Danqing really got married, she felt she needed to buy the company back as soon as possible to avoid future awkwardness. While planning her next steps, Jian Man suddenly heard a noise coming from the living room. She sat up in shock, wondering if a thief had broken in. 2 men were tiptoeing through the living room. One couldn't help but whisper, damn, this place is pretty fancy, while the other told him to keep it down. Jian Man peeked through the crack in the door and saw all of this. She covered her mouth to stop herself from making any sound. realizing these two men were not simple burglars. At that moment, the two men pushed open the bedroom door. They looked at the empty room, surprised. No one's here. Has she not come back yet? The blonde bowl-cut guy said he would wait inside, and the other should wait outside so they could trap her from both sides. The middle part guy agreed, saying that way they'd see where that girl thought she could run. Jian Man was hiding inside the wardrobe, extremely nervous. She couldn't call the police at all. Any sound from the phone would instantly expose her hiding place. She picked up her phone, just about to send a message for help. Meanwhile, the blonde bowl-cut guy placed his hand on the bed. He lifted the blanket and shouted, "That girl is still in the room, the bed is still warm." So the two of them started searching everywhere in the room. But the bedroom wasn't big at all. The moment they pulled open the wardrobe, they saw Jian Man. The bowl-cut guy grabbed her and yanked her out. "You dare play with me? I'll show you what happens." Jian Man's phone fell to the floor, but thankfully she managed to send a message to Lu Yiran at the last second. They dragged her onto the bed and she shouted, "Who are you people? If it's money you want, I can give you money." The bowl-cut guy sneered, "Sorry girl, someone hired us to take photos of you." The middle part guy added, "You'd better cooperate or it won't stop at just photos." The bowl-cut guy reached out and ripped her clothes open. Just as he was about to take pictures, Lu Yiran appeared behind them. He swung a bat straight at the middle part guy. Then he raised the baseball bat again and struck the bowl-cut guy. The two men froze in fear when they saw Lu Yiran coming. Lu Yiran was completely furious. "Which gutter did you mutts crawl out of, daring to make trouble here?" He raised the baseball bat, ready to teach them a real lesson. Knowing they were no match for him, the two men fled in panic. Lu Yiran was about to chase after them, but Jian Man grabbed him. "I'm scared they might have more people." "Don't chase them." Lu Yiran turned around and saw Jian Man with her clothes disheveled. He froze on the spot. Jian Man, embarrassed, asked Lu Yiran, "What are you doing?" This woman really had insane luck. She woke up with a CO husband and now even a top agent helping her become a diva. Lu Yiran slowly leaned closer to her. Their faces were almost touching, but Lu Yiran wasn't trying to kiss her. Instead, he reached for the blanket behind her and draped it over Jian Man's shoulders. "Careful, you'll catch a chill." The next day, Lu Yiran filed a police report, and the officers said they would investigate the matter thoroughly. But Lu Yiran still felt uneasy. He told Jian Man to pack her things and stay at his place for a few days. Jian Man instinctively refused, saying it wouldn't be appropriate. She could just stay at a hotel for now. Lu Yiran gave her a charming smile. "Why would it be inappropriate?" Then he placed his phone in front of her. "Is it inappropriate because you're going on dates with other men?" Jian Man saw the headline on his phone and jumped in shock. "Jian Man and Zhang Yi on a sweet date. Is your relationship crumbling?" This kind of headline was complete nonsense. Jian Man hurriedly explained that she only accepted a role in their production. Seeing how nervous she was made Lu Yiran secretly delighted. "She really does care about me." Lu Yiran gently patted Jian Man's head. "The agent will start tomorrow. From now on, listen to his arrangements. Pack your clothes and wait for me at the door in 10 minutes, he said, then left, leaving Jian Man standing there in a daze. "Why am I so flustered? Why don't I want him to misunderstand? Even knowing I'll be abandoned someday, I still let myself fall for him." Jian Man quietly packed her luggage in her room, and Lu Yiran soon came to pick her up. Early the next morning, an RV sped down the road. Inside, a man wearing high heels spoke up. "So you're that beyond 18th tier actress who still dreams about becoming best actress. With me, your top tier agent, protecting you, you'll be the next diva." Jian Man greeted him shyly. "Hello, teacher Bonnie." The man said calmly, "Just call me Bonnie." "And what is this messy script you accepted? Don't you know a script affects an artist's market positioning?" Jian Man admitted she didn't understand these things, and Bonnie said he would take full charge of all her work from now on. Looking at Jian Man's face, Bonnie felt utterly speechless. This is the woman Lu Yiran has his eye on. She's so clueless she might as well pack up and go home to be young Master Lu's housewife. 20 minutes later, the two arrived at the set. Bonnie brought exquisite afternoon tea for the crew, making everyone extremely happy. Then he called out to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi looked confused. Why was Bonnie calling for him? Bonnie winked at him, snapped his fingers and said slowly, "I'm planning to pair you and Jian Man as a CP. A top agent has to be decisive. ignoring an artist's refusal and directly ordering them to form a CP on the spot. Zhang Yi spoke awkwardly about forming a CP. Shouldn't we think it over a bit more? Bonnie looked puzzled. What, you think Jian Man isn't good enough for you? You're a newcomer with no resources. Working with us guarantees you exposure. Zhang Yi hurriedly denied it, but Bonnie pretended not to hear and decided on the spot. Bonnie looked toward the director. I've read the script. This project should be below C tier. The director looked embarrassed. This time the female lead isn't the company's main push, so the budget is tight. Bonnie said the funds aren't a problem, but Jian Man and Zhang Yi must get more romantic scenes. Jian Man felt extremely awkward. Actually, I think the most important thing for an actor is acting skills, not hype. Bonnie ignored her and asked Zhang Yi what he thought. Zhang Yi agreed cheerfully, leaving Jian Man standing there with a big question mark on her face. Bonnie clapped his hands. No wonder you became the company's #1 in just 2 years. Smart and decisive. At that moment, a loud scolding voice rang out and everyone turned to look. It turned out to be an agent yelling at a young actress. Sujue, can you do anything right? I shouldn't have given you work. Even if I do, you only ruin it. The director walked over and asked, what's going on? Sister Hong, what's the matter? Sister Hong snapped angrily. This girl can't get into the role, and she still has other work later. If she delays, both sides were done. Zhang Yi explained, this actress is the female lead of this drama. Her name is Sujue. Bonnie sized her up. Sujue's looks are pretty good. She debuted as an idol, so she has 0 acting experience. What a waste. Sister Hong was still scolding her when Bonnie pushed Jian Man forward. It's just a small matter. No need to get mad. Teach the little sister how to act. Make sure you teach her well, he said before walking away with Sister Hong. Sujue frowned at Jian Man. Please help me cry. The two sat down on a bench and Jian Man began teaching her how to get into character quickly. Seeing her reminded Jian Man of herself when she was a newbie. He taught Sujue a quick way to cry. Lift your head and look toward the light and the tears will fall naturally. It works really well, Jian Man continued, while Sujue looked at her with absolute admiration, clapping her tiny hands non-stop. But Sujue said she still found it hard. No matter what she did, she couldn't shed tears. It really troubled her. Just thinking about crying in front of so many people made her embarrassed. So Jian Man demonstrated it on the spot. Just like this, lift your head and look upward. Jian Man lifted her head and saw Lu Yiran's face. Shin Donqing's words immediately echoed in her mind. Lu Yiran is my fiancé. Tears slipped down uncontrollably. Seeing Jian Man cry so naturally, Sujue was shocked and impressed. From a distance, Bonnie called out, Jian Man, hurry up, it's your scene. She replied, I'm coming now. Half an hour later, Jian Man said goodbye to Sujue. Practice well here, I'll head back to the crew first. Agent Sister Hong came to check her progress and gave Jian Man's retreating figure a meaningful glance. Sujue happily told Sister Hong that she could finally cry on cue. Sister Hong spoke slowly. The actress who taught you just now, her company is willing to invest in this C-level project, so it's now bumped up to A-level. Sujue reacted in shock. That's amazing. Sister Hong looked at her coldly and added, other than shifting 40% of your scenes to her, everything else is great. Hearing that, Sujue's expression changed instantly. 40% of my scenes. That's way too much. Meanwhile, Bonnie found Jian Man and said, from now on I'm setting some rules for you. He pulled her aside. When I'm negotiating collaborations, don't cut in. Acting skills matter, but if fans never even notice you, what's the point of all your talent? Jian Man was about to speak, but Bonnie cut her off. Zhang Yi has already agreed to your suggestion. With me, he's only a backup option. Is a top agent. Please respect my professional planning. Jian Man frowned but eventually stayed silent. An hour later, Jian Man and Zhang Yi were shooting a photo spread. The two leaned close, drinking from the same cup and staring into each other's eyes like a real couple. After finally finishing the shoot, they could finally take a short break. Jian Man asked Zhang Yi why he agreed to form a CP with her. I know that being an actor requires more than acting skills, but CP hype feels like deceiving the fans. Zhang Yi smiled and said, getting to see you more makes me happy. Jian Man quickly waved her hands. We're old acquaintances. Don't say things like that. Then she made an excuse and left. Zhang Yi watched her back as she walked away, feeling a bit disappointed. If it weren't for President Liu, he would have made a move long ago. After the shoot ended, Jian Man and Zhang Yi walked together in the parking lot. Seeing that Jian Man's agent wasn't around, Zhang Yi offered to drive her home. You going back alone isn't convenient. Let me take you. Jian Man was about to refuse when a black sports car stopped right in front of her. Lu Yiran told her to get in. Jian Man was surprised. Why are you the one picking me up? She said goodbye to Zhang Yi and slowly got into Lu Yiran's car. She spoke cautiously. So, you came to pick me up? Lu Yiran replied calmly. Bonnie and Xiaobai are both busy. And you're my fiancé. Me picking you up is only natural. But aren't you very busy? Lu Yiran's tone was full of jealousy. Showing up at the right time lets me chase away those admirers around you. Jian Man raised her voice. We were just discussing work. And even if they were admirers, Jian Man suddenly became emotional. What does it have to do with you? You don't even really like me. You already have a fiancé, so what right do you have to control me? Lu Yiran suddenly slammed on the brakes. Tears fell from Jian Man's eyes. I thought I could accept everything calmly, but I can't. Did I care about you? Lu Yiran reached over, closed the car door, then unbuckled Jian Man's seatbelt. He pulled her into his arms and leaned in to kiss her. Jian Man's eyes widened in shock. The misunderstanding was cleared, and the domineering Xiao turned into a jealous little man. Jian Man pushed him away with a blushing face. You always bully me. Lu Yiran replied calmly. You're my fiancé. That if I don't tease you, who should I tease? Jian Man spoke awkwardly. I already know everything. Danqing is your real fiancé. Lu Yiran looked confused. Who told you that? Jian Man shut her eyes, moved slightly away from him. Danqing told me. Please keep your distance. Lu Yiran smiled as he answered. Listen carefully. I, Lu Yiran, have only one fiancé from beginning to end, and her name is Jian Man. But Jian Man still looked downcast. If you're doing this just because of that promise, then you don't have to. You don't even like me. Before she finished, Lu Yiran raised his voice and said, I do like you. He wrapped his arm around her waist, leaning closer. It's not responsibility. It's liking you. Liking you so much I can't let go. So stop pushing me away. With that, the CEO kissed his little sweetheart deeply inside the car. The next morning, Jian Man sat on a stool staring at her phone. After the two confessed their feelings last night, Lu Yiran turned into a jealous little guy, paying extra attention whenever she had scenes with Zhang Yi. Jian Man was fully soaked in the sweet, lovey-dovey mood. At that moment, Bonnie walked over, snatched her phone and grinned. I've called you so many times and you didn't respond. Jian Man quickly apologized. Then Bonnie pointed at Sujia. That kid ran into trouble again. Go help her. Jian Man sighed helplessly. Why are you so concerned about that little girl? Did you fall for her or something? Bonnie looked speechless. What goes on in your head all day? I just think the kid has great potential. Her agency is the problem. If she were in my hands, she'd definitely become a storm sweeping across Asia. Jian Man replied that her studio had just been founded and couldn't afford Su Jiu's penalty fee, so they couldn't sign her yet. But Bonnie didn't care at all. He pushed Jian Man forward. This is talent storage for the company's future. Go build a good relationship. At that moment, Su Jiu was still fully focused on reading her script. Jian Man walked over and said, if you need help with acting, you can ask me anytime. Su Jiu glanced at her, then said coldly, thanks, but I don't need it. Jian Man felt awkward. Maybe Su Jiu was in a bad mood today. Her attitude felt strange. Jian Man embarrassedly told her to keep working hard, then turned and left. The next second, Su Jiu suddenly said, I won't lose to you. Even if you have connections and the power to take my scenes. Su Jiu raised her voice. I'll win them back on screen with my acting. Hearing that, Jian Man smiled and looked at Su Jiu. Sure, I'm looking forward to it. Let's settle it on set later. The top agent was racking his brain for his artist. But who knew the artist would suddenly awaken and promise not to waste his effort? Jian Man held her script and went to director Qi. About this character, there are some parts I'd like to discuss with you. Can we adjust the upcoming scene? Director Qi agreed, saying the final draft was rushed and not fully polished. Director Qi laughed happily. Sujia also came to talk to me just now. Having hardworking actors like you two in this crew is great. Jian Man was surprised. Sujia came too. Director Qi explained that since her scenes were quickly moved to you, some parts still had conflicts. Jian Man was still stunned when Bonnie walked over. He looked down at her and said, "What, planning to unleash your saintly heart and hand all the scenes back to that newbie?" Jian Man frowned at him. "No, I'll never let her screen time overshadow the scenes you arranged for me." Bonnie smiled, thinking to himself, she finally gets it. Half an hour later, the two were ready to shoot. Jian Man closed her eyes and slipped into character quickly. When she opened them again, they were filled with emotion. She delivered her lines softly and calmly, passing the director's approval in one go. Su Jiue watched her and thought her own character was very naive, so even shouting or stealing scenes should be fine. So Su Jiue raised her voice and said her lines, "Sister Xiaoya, I really like you." The next second, she saw Jian Man's expression change. Jian Man had fully merged into the role. At this moment, she wasn't Jian Man anymore, she was Xiaoya. Jian Man kept delivering lines at Su Jiue with overwhelming presence. Su Jiue couldn't catch any of it, let alone steal the scene. She was completely crushed. After the director called cut, Jian Man smiled at her. "You should tell me your real feelings." Su Jiue thought of her real-life experiences and her emotions surged. She slammed the wall and growled, biting her teeth, "So annoying, I can't take my scenes back at all." Jian Man stopped her and reached out, handing her a notebook. Su Jiue slapped the notebook away. "I don't need your fake sympathy. You must be laughing at me, looking down on me." Jian Man slowly picked the notebook back up. "Everyone starts as a newbie." She gave Su Jiue a stunning smile, saying that knowing your weaknesses and fixing them is the only way to stop the next person from taking your chance. "This is the acting guide I read when I first entered the industry. It even has my notes. Whether you want it or not is up to you." Su Jiue frowned, but in the end still reached out to take Jian Man's notebook. She asked Jian Man, "With my attitude, why would you still help me?" Jian Man simply smiled, "Because I like people who refuse to lose and insist on walking the right path." Hearing that, Su Jiue lowered her gaze, falling silent. The next second, Zhang Yi walked up to them. "What are you two talking about? I'm hosting a party at my place in a few days. Want to come?" Su Jiue agreed immediately, while Jian Man stammered that she needed to check her schedule first. Right then, Lu Yiran also walked over. He wrapped his arm around Jian Man as if declaring his territory. "Yes, she has to check her schedule. If it clashes with my date with her, that would be pretty awkward." Hearing that, Zhang Yi scratched his head awkwardly, laughing. "You're right, haha. Going on a date with your boyfriend is obviously more important than our party." Jian Man gave an awkward smile and said goodbye to them. Lu Yiran lifted the corner of his lips proudly. "I finally chased away a few troublesome guys who like talking to you." Jian Man could fully feel his jealous CEO vibes. Lu Yiran leaned closer to Jian Man step by step. "You can actually tell me more about yourself. I want to know everything about you." Jian Man teased, "You should probably stay home considering how popular I am right now. Are you doing this on purpose, trying to make me nervous and jealous?" Then he grabbed Jian Man's hand and pinned it against the wall, pulling off a classic cape dawn. Followed by another brief moment of passion. This was honestly the most protective agent I've ever seen. His artist gets bullied and he steps out immediately. Bonnie brought Jian Man to the party hoping she could meet more connections. At that moment, a young man rushed out to hit on her, trying to make her drink his wine. Jian Man showed an awkward expression, clearly wanting to refuse the rich boy's approach. The man got furious after being rejected. "Do you know who I am? I'm the young master of the Mo family. Who do you think you are to turn me down?" Bonnie picked up a wine glass, and under everyone's shocked gaze, downed it in one gulp, then slammed the empty glass onto the table with a loud bang. He leaned toward the Mo brat. "I'm Jian Man's agent and I'm telling her not to deal with people like you in places like this. If you have a problem, come at me. And don't think I don't know what you put in that drink. You and those other spoiled brats trying to force Jian Man to drink. Your intentions couldn't be more obvious." Then Bonnie lifted his leg and kicked the Mo brat hard. After the kick, he turned around and said coldly, "Even the Mo family thinks they can mess with me now." At that moment, the kicked-away young master Mo got up and tried to sneak attack Bonnie with a wine bottle. Crack! Blood burst instantly from his head. The crowd was stunned by the sound. It turned out Zhang Yi had blocked the attack. The Mo family all looked at him and Mo Xiaoying shouted nervously, "Brother!" Young Master Mo turned back in fear. Old Master Mo walked up and slapped him hard. Mo Xiaoying bowed deeply to Bonnie and Jian Man. "I'm sorry. My brother was too impulsive and offended you." Old Master Mo was still kicking his son, scolding, "I already taught this brat a lesson for you." Young Master Mo held back his anger with a gloomy face. After the chaos died down and people left, a voice suddenly called out to Bonnie. Everything Bonnie did earlier to protect Jen Man from that rich playboy had been seen by Su Jiue. She said coldly, "You really surprised me. For your artist, you actually dared to offend the Mo family." Bonnie gave a slight smile. He struck a flamboyant pose. "Do you think I'm pretty manly?" In the RV, Jen Man and Bonnie sat on the couch. She couldn't help asking, "Are we really not going to check on Zhang Yi?" Bonnie replied, "We already offended young Master Mo. Let's not make things harder for Zhang Yi. That I'll thank him silently." Jen Man sighed. "Why are you like this? Sending a text wouldn't kill you. Don't you want people to get closer to you?" Bonnie glanced at her. "You'd better drop that idea. In showbiz, most friends just use each other." Meanwhile, young Master Mo punched the wall hard. He shouted furiously, "It's all because of that sissy and that stupid woman. They made me get slapped by the old man in front of everyone." Behind him, Mo Xiaoying quickly tried to calm him down. "You're the one who single-handedly made Silver Dragon Hua famous. People like him must have strong backing. We should avoid unnecessary trouble." Young Master Mo scoffed. "Please. Just a small-time manager. Since when would the Mo family fear someone like him?" Old Master Mo let out a cold snort. "If you keep hanging around your useless buddies, the next person you offend won't be just a small manager." Hearing that, young Master Mo grew even angrier. "Why are you always defending that girl? Am I even your real son?" Madame Mo rushed to stop him, insisting they would help him vent his anger. Meanwhile, Jen Man and Bonnie were discussing endorsement deals. Bonnie arranged a full month of work for her and even secured an MC Cosmetics promotion. Jen Man was happily celebrating when the phone suddenly rang. It was MC. They said the collaboration had to be put on hold. That was when Bonnie realized someone had dug up one of Jen Man's old roles to stir up drama, and a wave of smear articles had appeared online again. Jen Man felt helpless. "Why do people insist on forcing a character onto me? It was just acting." Bonnie had already come up with a plan. "I just contacted the platform's customer support. They'll take the trending tag down first to control the spread." Lu Iran immediately ordered his assistant to use the Lu Group's name and request all smear posts to be removed, but he still looked puzzled. Did Jen Man offend someone recently? Why would anyone go this far to slander her? Jen Man suddenly thought of something. Could it be young Master Mo? Lu Iran smiled lightly. "That spoiled brat from the Mo family? Well, we've got unexpected reinforcements too. You should take a look." He placed the tablet in front of her. Jen Man looked at the screen and was completely shocked. Thanks to her impressive acting, she had gained a huge fan base. Now that she was being smeared, fans had launched a massive anti-rumor campaign. A woman wearing a white headband looked fired up, saying, "Priority 1, report every marketing account spreading rumors, and lower the heat. Everyone clear?" The group responded, "Clear," and immediately started working on their computers. 2 hours later, a man let out a cheerful laugh. "Now the first comment under every marketing post is our clarification reply." Everyone finally relaxed, until they noticed the accounts had all been nuked. Meanwhile, Shin Danqing was also tapping away on her phone and computer. She curled her lips into a wicked smile. "All the accounts defending Jen Man have been wiped out. Young Master Mo, don't you dare disappoint me." At that moment, Yu Xiaobai grew anxious too. The platform refused to remove the trending topic. Lu Iran thought for a moment. "Seems like some other capital stepped in. Go check it out." Jen Man suddenly spoke up. "Actually, we don't need to suppress the trending tag." The next day, major marketing accounts began posting highly positive reviews of Jen Man's acting. Even Best Actor Guo Xiaolu joined in. Iran praised her. "Didn't expect your connections to be this wide. You can even get Best Actor Guo?" Bonnie replied calmly, "He has nothing to do with me. But Jen Man's idea this time was good, using the momentum against them." Lu Iran chuckled. "Looks like she's passed your personal evaluation." Bonnie still insisted, "If she can't even handle this level of PR, she might as well quit being an artist." He placed a USB drive on the table and turned to leave. I've given you the info that if the Mo family comes after me, I'll drag Jian Man down with me. Lu Yiran responded confidently, come after you. I'll make sure they can't even ask for help. Then he walked over to Jian Man. Jian Man was thanking her fans. Thank you all for supporting me. I love you guys. Hearing that, the jealous little Lu Yiran instantly appeared. He suddenly pulled her into his arms. You've never said you love me. I'm jealous. Jian Man smiled and leaned closer to Lu Yiran, then gently kissed his forehead. Is this enough? My jealous little Lu Shangshan. Lu Yiran was puzzled. Why are you calling me Lu Shangshan? Jian Man gave him a bright smile. Because ever since I met you, everything has been going well. You must be the guardian sent from above. Lu Yiran stared at her deeply. I'm just an ordinary man, but I'll use everything I have to protect you. Meanwhile, old Master Mo smashed his cane and sent young Master Mo flying. Useless brat. All you do is cause trouble. The company's stock is crashing. How do you expect me to explain this to the shareholders? Young Master Mo quickly apologized, saying he knew he was wrong. Mo Xiaoying stepped in. Blaming him now won't help. Why don't we talk to that girl instead? Old Master Mo's expression darkened instantly. Touch my canary, and he dares cause trouble for me. That little brat from the Lu family. Just you wait. This woman was truly hateful, pretending to be a best friend while stabbing others in the back. Shin Danqing, dressed beautifully, walked into a cafe. After sitting down, she spoke to Lu Yiran with a hint of grievance. You haven't asked me out for a long time. Finally remembered me today? But Lu Yiran didn't give her a pleasant expression. Enough. This nonsense should stop. Shin Danqing kept pretending. I don't understand what you're talking about. Lu Yiran quietly slipped his hand into his pocket and pressed the recording pen. Then he spoke calmly. The two Karami guys breaking into Jian Man's home and the trending topic from a few days ago. Those are all connected to you, right? Hearing this, Shin Danqing finally stopped pretending. Yes, I did. So what? You've liked her for so many years and she never even knew. Lu Yiran cut her off immediately. That's why I confessed that she's my fiancée now. Then he turned around and left. After today I won't be polite to you anymore, nor to your Shin family. After he left, Shin Danqing couldn't help but cry. What about me? I've loved you like crazy since you were a child. She gritted her teeth, hatred for Jian Man filling her heart. Meanwhile, Jian Man was filming the endorsement for Sue. The planner beside her kept praising her. Jian Man, your fashion sense is impressive. Bonnie also added politely, we should thank your SUV brand for giving her the chance. The planner laughed. We're not as blind as MC. They let a high-traffic artist slip away. The shooting finally wrapped up. Bonnie leaned toward Jian Man's ear. Hurry and change your outfit. President Lu said he wants to take you somewhere. Half an hour later, Jian Man arrived at a restaurant. As soon as she reached the entrance, she saw the Mo father and son. The Mo family pair had just walked inside. Yu Xiaobai politely pulled out a chair and invited old Master Mo to sit. After everyone sat down, Lu Yiran spoke directly. I heard old Master Mo enjoys watching plays. This performance is something I picked especially for you. It's about a bully who coveted a noble consort sneaking out of the palace, and in the end he was heavily punished by the emperor. Old Master Mo immediately understood. Over a little canary, isn't this a bit too dramatic? Lu Yiran didn't mind, but I like pampering my canary. I could even buy the entire Mo family and make it her golden cage. Hearing this, Jian Man raised her voice. I'm not some canary, I'm a wild goose. She's the most impressive woman I've ever seen. A major corporation's chairman actually knelt before her, begging her to spare his company. Jian Man strode in with full aura. Lu Yiran immediately called her to sit beside him. Jian Man sat next to him without hesitation. At this moment, Mo Xiao suddenly laughed. Didn't expect the mighty President Lu to be bewitched by a woman, her kind. I've got plenty. Before he could finish, old Master Mo yelled at him to shut up. Lu Yiran took the fruit platter from the waiter. I'm a man of loyalty. Out of 3,000 rivers, I choose only one cup to drink. Then he fed a piece of fruit to Jian Man. Jian Man cooperated graciously. This is just one of my fiancée's many ordinary strengths. Hearing that, Mo Xiao mocked again. She's just a celebrity fiancé. Celebrities are everywhere. Get another one if she's gone. As soon as he finished, old Master Mo exploded that he stood up and kicked Mo Shao hard. You insolent brat. Old Master Mo pulled off his belt and lashed Mo Shao repeatedly. Hurry up and apologize to Miss Jian. Jian Man smiled and said, Old Master Mo, you should discipline your child at home with everyone watching. I'm embarrassed for you. Old Master Mo pinned Mo Shao to the floor. My son did something disgraceful. My old face is already gone. As long as Miss Jian is willing to spare our Mo family, I'll even kowtow to you. Lu Yiran replied calmly, Don't morally pressure Jian Man. Mo Shao spoke rudely. His apology is only right. Jian Man stood up. But what about the girls Mo Shao hurt before? Don't they deserve an apology? You must publicly apologize to everyone you've harmed. Old Master Mo agreed immediately. Then Jian Man decided to leave. Before leaving, Lu Yiran looked down at Old Master Mo. Remember this. It's not that we can't take the Mo family, that we simply don't want it. After Lu Yiran left, Old Master Mo's face darkened, losing all the earlier humility. I must find a chance to get back the face I lost today. Meanwhile, Jian Man returned to the film crew. The new project was a Republican-era drama. Bonnie asked, We reviewed the script yesterday and thought it was great, but the male lead isn't set yet, right? Director Gao replied, Yes, that he only gave us an official response 2 days ago. The next second, a silver-haired man wearing sunglasses walked over. Sorry I'm late. The staff around them immediately had stars in their eyes. It was film Emperor Gua. Jian Man was also surprised. The male lead of this drama was actually Gua Shao, which explained why he had spoken up for her before. Bonnie still couldn't understand why Gua Shao would accept this project. After all, it was clearly a female lead-centered drama. They gathered to discuss the shoot for the character makeup photos. But unexpectedly, the styling team had been poached by a rival company. Director Gao was furious. There was no time to find a new styling team. Gua Shao and Bonnie tried to comfort Director Gao, saying their sponsors could step in, but Director Gao rejected them. I appreciate the help, but I prefer to have a third-party makeup artist as the coordinator. Hearing that, Jian Man's eyes lit up. Director Gao, maybe my friend can try. This woman was way too generous. Still just a small actress, yet she was recommending someone who could even help her competitors. Over the phone, Su Jue sounded thrilled. Thank you, Sister Man, for recommending me to Director Gao. Jian Man replied, No need to thank me, that I only introduced you, but you still need your own skills to earn it. After the call ended, Bonnie praised her. Not bad that you're learning how to build your own allies and team. Jian Man said this was called lifting each other up. Then she got out of the car. She decided to walk back to clear her mind and think about her role. While walking, Jian Man went over the general plot of the script in her head. The next second she accidentally tripped over something and fell straight onto the ground. Enduring the pain, Jian Man got up. Who's there? Then she saw an elderly grandpa lying on the ground. Jian Man hurried to help him up. Are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? But the grandpa said, You help me up just like that. Don't you have any sense? There's no one around. What if I tried to scam you? Jian Man gave him a bright smile. I didn't think that far, that I guess my instinctive kindness outweighed suspicion. Besides, people living in a wealthy neighborhood probably wouldn't fake a fall just to extort money, right? The grandpa continued, There might also be bad old men who fake a fall just to win your sympathy and get close to you. Jian Man felt embarrassed. Where do you live? I'll walk you home. But the grandpa shook off her supporting hand and refused. I don't live here, that I came to find my grandson. I forgot where he lives, but I believe he'll find me. Then he walked toward the lake. Jian Man felt uneasy, so she followed him. After a while, the two sat on a bench. The grandpa asked curiously, Little girl, you're so young, that shouldn't you be at work? Jian Man felt a little awkward. My job is pretty flexible, so I don't need fixed hours. The grandpa was speechless inside. This is the woman Lu Yiran chose. Our Lu family raised a little canary for nothing. The two talked for a long time and Jian Man learned a lot from the grandpa. Meanwhile, Lu Yiran received a text from old Master Lu, containing a photo of Jian Man sleeping. Lu Yiran felt helpless but still rushed over to his grandfather. When the old man saw him, he got excited like a child. "Haven't played hide and seek with you in ages." His playful mood suddenly returned. And Jian Man was still sleeping soundly on the side. Old Master Lu said, "I heard you've been getting close to an actress, so I came to see what kind of woman managed to bewitch you." Lu Yiran replied calmly, "So, are you satisfied with this woman?" Old Master Lu's face darkened instantly. To be honest, he was not satisfied at all. After secretly evaluating his future granddaughter-in-law, his conclusion was extremely negative. He said bluntly, "I'm very dissatisfied that I don't like people from the entertainment industry. This girl looks innocent, but inside she's a fool." Old Master Lu placed a hand on Lu Yiran's shoulder. "I'm serious, you're a rational child. Do you really want to marry a woman who brings no benefit to the family? Think it over." The next day Jian Man was filming, running with all her strength. Behind her, explosions shot straight into the sky. Her performance was smooth and precise. Even when she stumbled, she handled it perfectly. She passed the director's take without a single mistake. After the scene, Bonnie hurried over to ask if she was hurt. Jian Man waved her hand. "Just a little scrape, nothing serious." Bonnie continued, "Good thing your face isn't injured or our whole schedule would be delayed." Jian Man was speechless, so he wasn't worried about her, just her face. At that moment Guo walked over. "I didn't slow down the crew, did I?" The staff quickly said no and set up a table and chair for him. Bonnie glanced at him, then said to Jian Man, "This is what top-tier treatment looks like." "Jealous?" Jian Man smiled. "Of course, but Film Emperor Guo worked much harder than I have to earn this." As soon as she finished, the staff called her away. They briefed her on the next scene. She had to fly from the left building to the right one on a wire rig. Bonnie questioned, "This kind of dangerous stunt should be done by a stunt double." But the staff scoffed. "Such a simple move. Why need a stunt double? She's not even famous yet and already acting like a diva?" Jian Man quickly eased the tension. "It's fine. This is what actors are supposed to do." She then had the staff fasten her safety harness, getting ready for the next scene. When the director shouted action, Jian Man took the standard posture, preparing to fly toward the other building. The director watched her performance and praised how beautiful the movement was. But the next second the safety harness suddenly snapped. Jian Man's face changed instantly. She dropped rapidly from midair. Bonnie was terrified, sweating all over, shouting at everyone, "No!" A crowd rushed over with hurried footsteps. Outside the VIP ward, Lu Yiran's furious roar echoed with his subordinates' panicked voices. Lu Yiran pushed the door open, face full of worry, while his subordinates behind him were drenched in nervous sweat. But instead of the Jian Man he desperately wanted to see, the room was full of unrelated people. Lu Yiran anxiously asked where Jian Man had gone. Then he saw her, sitting in a wheelchair looking innocent, being pushed by Bonnie. Lu Yiran rushed over, checking her condition with deep concern. Jian Man said Film Emperor Guo saved her at the critical moment. When she fell, she heard a familiar voice calling out to her. And that man, Film Emperor Guo, appeared just in time. Film Emperor Guo pushed off the ground and caught Jian Man steadily as she fell. The two of them landed together on the safety cushion. Thankfully, Jian Man wasn't hurt. But Film Emperor Guo broke his arm while saving her. At that moment, Bonnie said Jian Man's waist had been injured and was actually worse than Guo's fracture. The director scolded the tech team for refusing to use a stunt double, causing both leads to get injured and delaying the shoot. Bonnie said he also held responsibility, but Jian Man insisted it was her choice not to use a double and not their fault. Film Emperor Guo, half holding his shirt, said lightly that the injury wasn't serious and he could keep working. He looked at Jian Man with gentle eyes, hoping she could avoid dangerous stunts even while loving her job. The director had no choice and told the tech team to be careful next time and never repeat this mistake. Jian Man wanted to take painkillers to attend tonight's party, but Lu Yiran didn't believe she could go. Jian Man gently coaxed him, saying it was her job and tonight's party would help her a lot. Lu Yiran looked at her deeply and told her to be careful. On the way back, Xiaobai wondered why Lu Yiran didn't just host a party himself so she wouldn't need painkillers. Lu Yiran replied, eyes full of love, that Jian Man is independent, unrestrained, and has her own ideas. That's what makes her so captivating. Jian Man picked a newly designed gown online and had it delivered. She was surprised Bonnie managed to get all these outfits, and Bonnie said this was just the beginning. Bonnie rested his chin on his hand, drifting into memories of when top designers used to chase after him. The gala party began in full grandeur. Shan complained that Jian Man kept getting opportunities, while her own agent told her to ruin Jian Man's dress. Shan slapped her agent hard, saying she couldn't afford to compensate for those expensive gowns. At that moment, Jian Man entered the venue in her evening dress. Shan froze in shock, unable to believe the coincidence. It turned out Jian Man was wearing the exact same dress as her. Jian Man had just thanked the server, when Shan's resentful voice came from the side. Seeing that they were wearing the same dress, Jian Man was also surprised. Shan showed a mocking smile. "This dress is one of a kind. Did you seriously come wearing a fake?" She even shouted that Jian Man's dress was counterfeit, her smile turning vicious, saying she would never wear fakes. Jian Man was speechless. How could someone insult herself so confidently? Bonnie walked over slowly, telling Shan to think carefully about who exactly bought her dress. Shan became even more spiteful and mocked Bonnie, saying he was nothing and her dress was definitely authentic. But just then, everyone suddenly went quiet, their faces filled with surprise. Under the admiring gazes and whispers around her, Yin Longhua walked in slowly, saying she supported Bonnie and that Jian Man's dress was the real one. Yin Longhua explained that the specially made pieces from this brand always have a tiny M mark on the back. Hearing this, Jian Man quickly checked the back of her dress at the neckline. Sure enough, the mark was there. Her dress was definitely authentic. But Shan's dress had no mark, meaning hers was actually fake. Shan exploded with anger, and her agent immediately bowed her head, saying she couldn't buy the genuine one. This was only a sample. Shan grew even more furious, saying she'd settle the score later. She then accused Yin Longhua of lying just to embarrass her, but Yin Longhua said she could call to confirm if she didn't believe it. Yin Longhua even pulled out her iPhone, saying the designer was currently flying to London and probably wouldn't answer her. The agent urged her to leave quickly before embarrassing herself further, which only made Shan angrier. Jian Man even walked over naively and apologized, saying she was sorry everyone now knew Shan's dress was fake. Shan went completely hysterical, and her agent dragged her away, saying there were tons of reporters around. Yin Longhua also left, blowing a playful kiss and wishing her good luck. At the hall entrance, the event manager warmly welcomed Yin Longhua's arrival. The manager chatted enthusiastically with her. Bonnie wondered why the manager only greeted Yin Longhua and ignored the rest of them. Xiao Bai explained that Yin Longhua was the brand ambassador, so her presence was extremely important. Bonnie said he was going to the restroom and told Jian Man not to wander around and to wait for him there. While Bonnie was washing his hands, the door behind him opened. It was Yin Longhua. Yin Longhua walked in with her arms crossed, speaking as if she hadn't seen Bonnie in a long time. Bonnie asked if she planned to stay in the entertainment industry for the long run this time, and Yin Longhua said yes. Yin Longhua tried to recruit Bonnie back to her side to work for her again and recreate their former glory. Bonnie tossed the paper towel away and rejected her offer. Yin Longhua questioned whether Bonnie intended to train that silly girl, Jian Man, to surpass her, but Bonnie said Jian Man would show an even better performance. Bonnie confidently added that he planned to shape Jian Man into someone who would surpass Yin Longhua and become the new Asian superstar. Yin Longhua said she didn't believe it at all. Really? Then she'd wait and see. At the banquet, Jian Man held her wine glass, thinking silently about making more connections. She walked around trying to blend in but had no idea how to start a conversation. Every time she tried to speak, she found she couldn't join anyone's conversation. Watching everyone chatting happily in the lively hall, Jian Man felt overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. Just then she noticed a middle-aged man sitting on a nearby sofa who looked unwell. The middle-aged man was breathing heavily, one hand clutching his leg. Jian Man hurried over and asked if he needed help. The man said his medicine was in his pocket. Jian Man quickly reached into his pocket to take out the medicine. She swiftly helped feed the pill to him. After taking the medicine, the middle-aged man leaned back on the sofa with a relieved expression. He looked at Jian Man and smiled, saying he felt much better. Jian Man was surprised he spoke fluent Chinese. At that moment, Bonnie's voice came from behind, scolding her for wandering off instead of waiting where he told her. The middle-aged man hurried to defend Jian Man, saying she had just helped him a lot. Then someone from behind called out to him. It turned out the man was Mr. Darrell, who had come to the United States to meet Mr. Mr. Darrell followed the man who called him away. Bonnie told Jian Man to stay close, saying he would introduce her to a few bosses, which instantly made her feel more at ease. Bonnie said that socializing with people wasn't actually that difficult. Encouraged by Bonnie, Jian Man tried again to join other people's conversations. But she still didn't achieve much. Jian Man looked at Bonnie with frustration written all over her face. Bonnie easily obtained someone's business card and told Jian Man to watch carefully and learn. A man and woman walked into the venue while chatting. The man hadn't found a dance partner yet and assumed the woman would recommend Shan Shan. But the woman recommended Jian Man instead. She pointed out that Jian Man wasn't wearing anything fake and that she was the one who exposed Shan Shan's counterfeit dress. But the man didn't think it mattered, saying the authenticity of the dress made no difference to Shan Shan. Jian Man said that at a gathering full of wealthy people, someone actually dared to show up wearing a fake. She added angrily that someone had even bought a counterfeit sample, making her the target of everyone's jokes. At that moment, the host suddenly announced that the party had officially begun and that President Darrell was present. Amid the crowd's excited cheers, Mr. Darrell, the middle-aged man Jian Man had saved earlier, walked onto the stage. Bonnie explained to Jian Man that Mr. Darrell was the president of the largest global cosmetics company in the Asia-Pacific region. The man beside them was shocked that Jian Man knew nothing, saying he had no idea how she managed to survive in the entertainment industry. On stage, Mr. Darrell invited the brand ambassador Manhwa to dance with him. As Manhwa was about to step on stage, Mr. Darrell interrupted the host. He bowed slightly and said the first dance already had a chosen partner. Manhwa replied that it was fine. She stepped down and the woman earlier even dodged back, thinking Mr. Darrell was coming for her. But she was wrong. Mr. Darrell's real target was Jian Man. Music started and Mr. Darrell danced gracefully with Jian Man. Throughout the dance, envious whispers spread around them. After leaving the dance floor, Jian Man apologized, saying she felt embarrassed for stepping on Mr. Darrell's foot several times. She then introduced her manager, Bonnie, to Mr. Darrell. Mr. Darrell praised Bonnie's excellent eye for talent. He said he hoped to work with him again and they exchanged business cards. Under the streetlights, a long luxury vehicle waited, and someone inside was extremely satisfied with tonight's outcome. Jian Man was carefully studying the business card Mr. Darrell had given her. Bonnie said she was lucky. Gaining Mr. Darrell's favor would greatly help her career. Jian Man smiled brightly. Yes, it was Mr. Darrell's card and she was genuinely happy to have earned his approval. Jian Man suddenly asked Bonnie if he could teach her more about fashion. Bonnie looked surprised. Was she sure? Jian Man nodded firmly, full of determination. Bonnie sighed and said fine, but the learning process would be tough, so she'd better be prepared. Jian Man looked upward and said she felt curious and excited about many things right now, and she hoped she could improve herself even more. Bonnie was relieved but also worried, telling her to rest first since there was important work tomorrow. Jian Man closed her eyes, saying every day felt busy but fulfilling. Watching her, Bonnie felt both comforted and uneasy, unsure whether the troubles they solved so far would come back again. The next day, Jian Man and the film emperor were assigned an acting task. The director set up the scene and explained the details. When the director yelled action, the wind immediately rustled the leaves. The film emperor pushed the cart forward, sweating heavily as he struggled. Seeing Jian Man arrive, he shouted, asking why she was there when he told her to stay in the car. Jian Man placed her hand on the cart, saying she came to help. One more person meant one more share of strength. Suddenly, they both stopped and stared ahead in confusion. For some unknown reason, the rain had stopped. The director had no idea what happened, so he immediately sent someone to repair it. He then turned around and sternly ordered the staff to fix it within 10 minutes. During the break, Bonnie put a coat over Jian Man's shoulders and handed her ginger syrup to warm her up. Jian Man's legs suddenly went weak and she almost collapsed. Bonnie rushed to her side, asking what was wrong. Jian Man shook her head rapidly, saying water had gotten into her eyes. Only a few drops of water were coming out of the pipe. A nearby assistant walked up and asked why Jian Man's face was so red. Jian Man said she drank too much ginger syrup. When the director shouted, "Action!" again, filming resumed, but Jian Man's expression still didn't look good. The other actor was giving their best performance, yet Jian Man's face grew even redder. Someone beside her sensed something was wrong and tapped her lightly, and Jian Man fell straight to the ground, fainting. Jian Man entered a dream, where heavy rain poured from the sky and people walked with colorful umbrellas. Her best friend said that rain at a time like this felt awful, but luckily someone had brought an umbrella. Little Jian Man smiled brightly and said they could just wait for the rain to stop. Her friend sighed about how Jian Man was always so optimistic. Then they heard Lu Yiran calling from behind. Lu Yiran didn't bring an umbrella either and suggested sharing one with Jian Man. But suddenly, a silver-haired girl rushed over, saying she could share her umbrella with Lu Yiran. Lu Yiran reluctantly agreed, barely acknowledging the girl, while Jian Man went to look for someone else. Behind her, Lu Yiran reached out his hand wanting to stop her. In her dream, a hand gently touched Jian Man's cheek, but the name she called out was Lu Yiran's. Jian Man suddenly woke up, grabbed the hand and looked forward, still calling Lu Yiran's name. But the face she saw was Movie Emperor Guaz, who awkwardly said, "You're awake." Jian Man quickly sat up, looked around and asked where she was and where Bonnie went. She had been brought here because she had a fever and Bonnie had stepped out to make a call. Bonnie came back with Lu Yiran and both rushed straight to Jian Man. Lu Yiran and Movie Emperor Guaz exchanged looks, a silent clash full of hostility. Lu Yiran held Jian Man's hand, deeply worried about her, which made Movie Emperor Guaz visibly annoyed. Lu Yiran's concern made Jian Man blush again, her cheeks turning red. Movie Emperor Guaz finally couldn't stand it anymore and said he was leaving. Watching him walk away, Bonnie fell into deep thought, sensing something was off. Jian Man held a bowl of medicine, her reflection showing how unwilling she was to drink it. But for the sake of recovery, she forced herself to swallow the bitter liquid. After finishing it, Jian Man sighed, "So bitter." Xiaobai said bitter medicine helps the body and that she would be fine after some sleep. Lu Yiran then told Xiaobai to return to the company to get his laptop. Hearing that, Jian Man quickly turned her head, thinking Lu Yiran planned to stay in the same room with her. Lu Yiran lazily replied that staying with her would only make him catch her serious cold, so he'd sleep in the next room. Back at the apartment, Lu Yiran's hands typed rapidly across the keyboard. Suddenly, Jian Man hugged him from behind and said she was hungry, leaving Lu Yiran helpless. Although her fever was almost gone, her face quickly turned red again in the ambiguous atmosphere. The domineering Xia wrapped an arm around her in return and leaned close. "Aren't you afraid your cold will infect me?" Then Lu Yiran told her to get changed. He was taking her to the night market for something delicious.